Hello, I think we're on. So students, we're in my office and I'm trying to learn how to use this thing. I think you guys are going to do some interviews when you come to class on Tuesday, so that'll be fun. But hey, there I am. I know, not the most, I'm unshaven, it's Friday. But here's what I'm going to do. Let's go and let me go over that email that I sent you, that I gave you a little lecture. I'm going to try to give that lecture to you right now as well. So listen along, and I'm going to point this at the board now and go over the lecture about drive. Okay, there you go. So it's the book by Daniel Pink. It's called Drive, The Surprising Truth About What Motivates Us. The book is really it's sort of aimed at like business managers, but also teachers and other people that are trying to motivate people, like me. And the part that's before you read, I want to tell you about this puzzle experiment here that he talks about. There was a researcher, and he got some people to, involved to do his research, to do research on, and he divided them into two groups, and he had them come in 3 days in a row to do this puzzle. And in the first day, both groups were just told, see if you can figure out this puzzle while we watch. And partway through that, the researcher got up and said, I got to go out of the room for a little while. Just chill. I'll be back in 10 minutes or so. But what the researcher did is he went to another room and watched them. And most of the people just kept working on the puzzle, even though the researcher wasn't there. And he timed them, how long or how much they worked on the puzzle. Day 2, he tells one group, let's call it Group A, okay, if you do the puzzle, if you finish this puzzle that I'm going to give you today, I'll pay you money, let's say $50. The other group, nothing. Just like the day before, just says, hey, see if you can do this puzzle. Again, he walks out of the room, again, he watches them. The people who he said he would pay, they work on the puzzle about, 10 or 12 minutes, whereas the other people maybe work on it 8 or 9 minutes on average. So the people who were going to get paid worked on the puzzle more. And I think maybe a few more of them actually figured it out. I'm not sure about that. Day 3, this time, again, Group A, he's the group that he paid the day before. This time he says, okay, I want you to do a puzzle, but I'm not paying you today. Group B, the same as all the other times, the other 2 times. He just doesn't say anything. He just says, well, you just work on this puzzle. Now when he walks out of the room and then spies on them, the people who had been paid the day before, they don't work on the puzzle as much. They've lost their motivation to work on the puzzle on the 3rd time when the pay is no longer being offered. Yet the people who have never been offered any money for doing the puzzle, they continue to work on the puzzle and work on it more than the people that had been paid the day before. So that kind of shows that pay, that's a weird thing. That pay isn't always, or it can backfire as a motivator. So anyway, that's kind of an interesting experiment that he does, and we might start thinking of what really does motivate people to do things. And then I'm going to move over here, and he goes into 3 kinds of motivation. He calls them motivation 1.0, motivation 2.0, and motivation 3.0. And sort of like as if they were computer programs, like software, like Word 1.0, Word 2.0, or something like that. Motivation 1.0, we all know about that. It's basic biology, the things that drive us as animals. We need food, we want sex. If we have to, work hard or go out and hunt and kill something, we'll go hunting. We're not hunting because we want to, we're hunting because we want to eat. It's just like the coyotes or the bobcats, whatever. Sex, all of us can think about all the crazy things we do to have sex. Hopefully we don't do those things just for the sex, like taking people out on dates. Hopefully we enjoy the date itself as well. Nonetheless, that's motivation 1.0. Okay, then we've got motivation 2.0. And that he talks about as an if-then motivator, an if-then drive. And usually it involves, yes, money. for example. Oh, that's one of the most common things. Incentives, external incentives. So if you get your work done by 5 o'clock, then I'll pay you X amount of money, or then you'll get to eat dinner or something. I don't know. It seems like there's kind of a connection between 1.0 and 2.0, doesn't it? Anyway, both of those, he says, are extrinsic drives or extrinsic motivation. And extrinsic means something that's outside of us as opposed to intrinsic. So here it's you do something not for itself, but for what it will get you. There's an extrinsic motivation behind that. Okay, but then he says, here's the deal. 2.0, that's sort of what made those guys doing the puzzle that were getting paid. That's what made them try to do it, you know, when they knew they were going to get paid, because they'd get a payoff. But here's what they've discovered, is that for creative things that are really creative, motivation 2.0 doesn't quite cut it. As long as you're getting paid enough, then telling people you're just going to pay them more doesn't necessarily make them more creative and more productive. If you want people to do creative things, then they need to be motivated by motivation 3.0. Whoops, let me move these things. Hold on. And motivation 3.0 that's where like the activity is its own reward. Like if you go out and play some basketball, or you pick up a guitar and play that. It's things that are fun to do, or interesting to do, or rewarding to do in and of themselves. And he says those are things that are intrinsic motivation. That's the idea that they're intrinsic, means they're in themselves, they are interesting to do or worth doing. Whereas the extrinsic motivators are things that you do for something else, to get something else. And he says the key to this motivation 3.0, this intrinsic motivation, is these three elements: autonomy, mastery, and purpose. And those are the chapters that you're going to read about. So I want you to think about, you know, what those words might mean. You might want to look up autonomy for sure, and watch the Daniel Pink video where he talks about it, and then do the reading. So hopefully that'll work, and I'll talk to you later.